serve me loyal, got to be spoiled. Ooh, put me up high, this is my hive. See me shine, shine, glitter like a diamond, leave you blind, that's how I get back in line. What's yours is mine, can't tell me nothing. I'm the finest. So glorious,
Welcome to Girl Talk Unfiltered. Today's episode is about self and identity, the myth of figuring it out. Who the fuck are you really? All right, let's talk about identity. Who you are, who you thought you'd be, who you're pretending to be, and the poor bitch in the middle who's just trying to pay rent, car note, buy food, and not lose her mind. We grow up with this myth, this obsession, that one day we'll figure it out. Like it's a level in a video game. Congratulations, you've unlocked your true self. Spoiler, there is no map, there is no finish line. There's just you, stumbling, evolving, burning out, reinventing, and sometimes looking in the mirror like, who the hell is this? So today we're breaking it down into 3 truths about identity. 1, the myth of figuring it out. Why life doesn't follow a map, and that's actually fine. 2, when you don't recognize yourself anymore. What happens when burnout or life shifts knock you off course? 3, what if this is it? How to find contentment without losing your fire. But first, about me, the music edition. All right, let's talk about music, because honestly, it's in my DNA. Like I came out the womb basically vibing to a soundtrack. I love all kinds of music, but if I had to pick my ride or die, it's soft R&B, the real smooth stuff. Some stations call it the quiet storm, which sounds sexy as hell, but really it's just me in my kitchen at midnight pretending I'm in a 90s music video. Here's the thing. Music sets the tone for everything. It shifts my mood faster than therapy, wine, or even blocking a toxic ex. And yeah, I have a podcast where I literally talk for a living, but sometimes I can't get the words out. Sometimes it doesn't feel safe enough to open up. But there's always a song, always a lyric that nails exactly what I'm too scared or too stubborn to say out loud. That's why music is my love language. It speaks when I can't. Music is the unfiltered version of me, just with better lyrics. I don't always know how to talk about my feelings, but I can damn sure make you a playlist. About me, romantic at heart edition. I'll admit it, I'm a total romantic at heart. Like, I'm the bitch who still believes in love songs and grand gestures, even if I've also got the receipts from every time love has kicked me in the ass. Don't get me wrong, I'm not out here writing Hallmark movies. I mean, I could. But my idea of romance isn't just candlelit dinner and roses. It's the little shit. Someone remembering how I take my coffee. Someone texting me back without me having to draft a missing person report. But yeah, even after heartbreak, disappointment, plot twist life throws at you, I still root for love. I still believe in the butterflies, the spark, the messy, intoxicating, soul-connecting kind of love. And sometimes I hate that about myself because it makes me feel soft, vulnerable. Like I should know better by now. But honestly, I'd rather be soft than bitter. I'd rather risk the crash than never get on the ride. So yeah, I'm a romantic at heart. Call it delusional, call it hopeful. I call it human. I'd rather get my heart broken 100 times than live like I never had one. Call me soft, call me delusional, but at least I still believe in love songs. Enough about me. Back to the show. Segment 1, the myth of figuring it out. This is not a seminar, baby. It's the real messy shit. And I'm not about to sit here and blow smoke up your ass like a life coach on caffeine. Let's just call this out. We've been sold the biggest scam of all time. The myth that one day you'll figure it out. Like there's some magic finish line. The right job, the right partner, the right body, the right bank account. And when you come across it, bam, confetti, cannons, Beyonce plays, and suddenly you're living as your higher self. No, that's bullshit. You don't wake up one day with a membership card to the club of figured it out humans. There is no club. Half the people acting like they've got it all together are just really good at repeating Instagram quotes between hangovers. I remember being in my teens thinking, okay, by 30, I'll have my career locked in, I'll be married, I'll own a house with crown molding, and I'll know exactly who I am. Cut to 30, was eating leftover pizza at midnight, asking friends how to get wine stains out of beige carpet, and wondering if I was in the right job, the right city, or the right skin. Spoiler, I had none of it figured out. But guess what? Nobody around me did either. We were all just better at faking it. And here's where it gets interesting. The whole concept of figuring it out is rooted in this illusion that identity is a destination. That if you just keep climbing, one day you'll arrive. But identity isn't a destination. It's a decision you make every day. Who you are is created by what you believe about yourself in this moment, not by some external milestone, not by society's fake-ass timeline, not by your parents' checklist. So when you say, I don't have it figured out, what you're really saying is, I'm waiting for someone else to give me permission to be who I already am. Think about that. You don't need a map. You don't need a gold star. You need a decision. Because honestly, waiting to figure it out is like waiting for an email saying, congratulations, bitch, you are officially an adult now. It's never coming. The inbox is empty. Move on. So let me flip it on you. Whose version of figuring it out are you chasing? What checklist did you inherit from your parents, your culture, your Instagram feed? And here's the big one. What would your life look like if you stopped chasing someone else's definition of done? So yeah, you don't figure it out, you live it out. Messy, imperfect, in progress. And the sooner you drop the myth, the sooner you get to enjoy the damn ride. Half the people preaching alignment are just recycling Instagram quotes between tequila shots. Your identity isn't a destination. It's a choice you're making in every moment. Identity is created by what you decide to believe about yourself, not what society hands you. Here's the thing about contentment. We've been brainwashed to think it's dangerous. Like the second you say you're content, you're waving the white flag. You've given up. You're average. You've settled. That's a lie. Contentment doesn't mean giving up. It means you stop clawing your way through life like you're on some reality show auditioning for approval. It's not passive. It's powerful. It's saying, I can breathe where I am, and I can still want more. And that's the nuance we've never taught. We think it's either fire or fulfillment, hustle or peace, ambition or rest. No, fire and fulfillment can exist in the same body. Think about it. A candle doesn't burn less brightly because it's steady. A fire in a fireplace still warms the whole damn room, even if it's contained. So maybe the work isn't to be endlessly restless. Maybe the work is to be lit up and at ease, to be chasing growth without treating yourself like a problem to fix. Because here's the truth. You don't hate yourself into becoming. You love yourself into becoming. So when I say contentment, I don't mean giving up the fight. I mean finally realizing you don't need to fight yourself while you're fighting for your life. I used to think contentment was dangerous. Like if I said out loud, I'm happy here, the universe would hear me and go, "Pooh, we'll stop sending her opportunities." So I stayed restless, always hungry, always chasing, career, relationships, body, whatever. There was always another finish line. And I'll be real with you, it was exhausting. Then one night, I was sitting watching TV, wine glass in hand, laughing about nothing, and it hit me. This was it. Peace. This was the thing I was chasing all along. Not the awards, not the title, not the polished Instagram feed, just this. Connection, belonging, feeling like myself. And at that moment, I felt content. Not because life was perfect, trust me, it wasn't, but because I realized I didn't need to bulldoze through my present just to prove to myself I was worthy of a future. That night didn't make me stop wanting more. I still have fire. I still have ambition. But I learned something big. Peace doesn't kill your fire. It fuels it. Because when you're not burning yourself out, trying to prove you deserve to exist, you finally have the energy to build the life you actually want. My question's for you. What version of figuring it out did you inherit from your parents, culture, or social circle? Whose definition of success are you actually chasing? So no, you're not behind. You're not late. You're just not living someone else's fake-ass timeline. The myth of figuring it out keeps you chasing. The truth? You're already in it. You're already becoming. Peace doesn't kill your ambition. It makes it unstoppable. Maybe the bravest thing isn't chasing harder. Maybe it's being on fire and at ease at the same damn time. Segment 2. When you don't recognize yourself anymore. Okay, let's get messy. You ever wake up, look at your life and think, who the fuck is this person? You're burnt out, uninspired, maybe successful on paper, but empty inside. Or maybe you've been through a breakup, a loss, a shift, and suddenly the version of you you've known feels like a stranger. I knew I'd lost myself when I caught my own mouth saying, "Let's circle back." Like, bitch, who even am I? Someone get me a tequila shot. Here's the truth most of us don't want to admit. Identity isn't fixed. It's not some laminated card you carry around forever. It's fluid. It bends, it shifts, it reshapes itself every time life throws something at you. But we cling to the idea that identity should be permanent because permanence feels safe. It feels stable. I'm the strong. I'm the funny one. I'm the one who has it all together. We build these roles like armor and convince ourselves that's who we are. Then life happens. Burnout, heartbreak, loss, trauma, and suddenly the armor doesn't fit anymore. The version of you that used to feel true feels foreign. The words don't come out the same. The mirror looks different, and that's terrifying. It feels like loss. It feels like death even. Because who are you without that identity you've carried for years? But what if that's not loss? What if that's invitation? Burnout isn't proof you're broken. Trauma isn't the end of your story. They're signals. They're invitations. They strip away the layers you've outgrown and they dare you to create again. Think about it. The you that survived the hardest shit is not the same you who's stepping into healing. The version of you that kept everything together is not the same version who gets to fall apart and start fresh. That's not a downgrade. That's rebirth. So maybe the question isn't, how do I get back to who I was? Maybe the real question is, who am I now that I've survived all of this? Because identity isn't about holding on. It's about becoming again and again and again. So yeah, identity isn't fixed. It's fluid, which is great news because it means if you hate who you were last week, congratulations, you can rebrand by Friday. You want to talk about an identity crisis? Try going through a divorce after years of being the wife. My whole personality was tied up in being part of a couple. I was part of the we in every sentence, and suddenly, it was just me. I remember standing in Target, holding a damn toaster and realizing, oh shit, I don't even know if I like sourdough or bagels. Because for 26 years, I just bought what he ate. I didn't know what kind of bread I liked. Bread. That's how deep the identity loss went. That was the moment it hit me. I wasn't just losing a marriage. I was losing this version of myself I had been performing for decades. And yeah, it was heartbreaking, but also kind of hilarious. Like, imagine realizing your big act of rebellion is buying a different loaf of bread. So yeah, there I was, having a breakdown in the bread aisle. But that's the thing. Sometimes the crisis isn't loud. It's not the big, dramatic divorce papers. It's realizing you don't even know what kind of toast you like without somebody else telling you. Let me ask you, where in your life are you still living on autopilot? What's one small thing, like bread or coffee or music, that's been defined by someone else's preference, not yours? And if you stripped away the labels, wife, partner, mom, employee, who would you be? What would still be you? Another time I completely lost myself was career burnout. For years, I was the overachiever, the one who could grind harder, stay later, push through anything. That was my brand. Then one day, I was in the bathroom stall at work, crying into my sleeve, thinking I could literally disappear right now, and the only person who would care is the HR lady who had to file the paperwork. That's how fried I was. It wasn't just exhaustion. It was identity death. If I wasn't the overachiever, the strong one, the dependable one, then who the hell was I? And the scary part is, I didn't have an answer. But looking back now, that breakdown was the first time I realized my identity wasn't a resume. It wasn't my job title. It was me. Stripped down, messy, crying in a stall, deciding maybe, just maybe, I deserve more than being a job workhorse. Listen, crying in the bathroom isn't glamorous, but it was the first time I realized I was more than my job title. And I want you to ask yourself, what role have you been performing so long it feels like your whole identity? If you stop being the strong one or the overachiever, who's left underneath? And here's the kicker. Are you terrified of that answer or curious about it? Not recognizing yourself isn't failure. It's evidence you're growing. But yeah, it feels like shit in the middle. You don't need to panic. You just need to pause and take a deep breath. You see the thread, right? In one story, it was divorce and bread. In the other, it was career burnout and a bathroom stall. But both moments had the same gut punch. I didn't know who I was outside the role I'd been performing. And that's the part nobody tells you about identity. It doesn't unravel in the big dramatic moments. It sneaks up on you in the everyday, in the way you shop for groceries, in the way you answer an email, in the way you say yes when your whole body is screaming no. And when those moments hit, it feels like loss. But really, it's a chance. It's a mirror being shoved in your face saying, hey, you get to choose again. Who do you want to be now? So whether you're crying in Target or hiding from HR in the bathroom stall, it's not evidence you're broken. It's evidence you're human. And maybe, just maybe, it's evidence you're on the edge of becoming someone new. Who needs therapy when you can have a nervous breakdown at work and a crisis in the bakery section? Multitasking, baby. Listen, if self-discovery smells like bread and industrial strength hand soap, then I'm basically enlightened. Segment 3. What if this is it? Let's talk about the scariest thought. What if this is it? We spend our whole lives chasing the next version of ourselves, the next milestone, the better job, bigger house, the shinier love story. And don't get me wrong, ambition is hot. I love ambition. But at some point, you have to stop and ask, what if right now, this messy, unfinished, ordinary version is it? And that thought is terrifying, right? Because it feels like settling. Like if you admit this is it, you're giving up on the future. But maybe it's the opposite. Maybe this is it isn't a death sentence. Maybe it's freedom. Because if this is it, you don't have to keep proving yourself. You don't have to run yourself into the ground chasing some fantasy version of you that never actually shows up. Here's the reframe. This is it doesn't mean you're done growing. It means you're enough while you grow. It means you can still want more, but you don't have to treat your current self like a draft that needs constant editing. Think about how much life we waste waiting for the real thing to start. Waiting for love to feel complete. Waiting for money to feel secure. Waiting for the mirror to show us someone worthy. But baby, the real thing is already here. And yeah, it's messy. It's imperfect. It's not Instagram perfect. But it's alive. You're alive. And maybe that's the point. If this isn't messy, unfinished, a little chaotic, then fine. At least it's not me in a beige cubicle saying, circle back all day. So yeah, what if this is it? Honestly, if it comes with wine, good friends, and Wi-Fi, I'll take it. I'll give you an example from my own life. When I hit burnout, I wasn't just exhausted. I didn't even recognize myself. I had been the strong one, the dependable one, the woman who could carry everything and still keep smiling. That was my identity, my badge of honor. And then one day, I couldn't carry it. I was done. I'd cry in the car after work, sit in my own kitchen and feel like a stranger in my own skin. I kept asking myself, if I'm not the strong one, then who the hell am I? I felt like I'd lost myself. But looking back now, I realized I hadn't lost me. I had lost the costume that I've been wearing. And yeah, it was terrifying to let it go. But it was also an invitation to step into a version of myself that wasn't built on being everything for everyone else. I thought burnout meant failure, but it was the beginning of me reclaiming my identity, not as the strong one, but as a real, whole, complicated human who doesn't need to hold it all together to deserve love and peace. We're obsessed with calling ourselves a work in progress. And yeah, I get it. It sounds nice. It makes us feel like we're on the way somewhere, that there's a shinier, better, more finished version of us waiting just around the corner. But what if you're not a work in progress? What if you're just the work? Like, what if this version of you, messy, tired, half excited, half exhausted, still figuring shit out, is actually the real thing? Not a draft, not a beta test, not the before picture. Because here's the mindfuck. Even when you improve, even when you hit the goals, you're still in progress. There's always another thing, which means if you only ever identify as in progress, you'll never actually arrive. It's like downloading an app update and the notification just keeps saying, optimizing, optimizing, optimizing. Like, when are we done optimizing? Can I just use the app? Here's the deeper truth. You are the work right now. this body, this mind, this season, it counts. This is the masterpiece and the mess at the same time. When you say, I'm just a work in progress, what you're really saying is, I'm not enough yet. But if you flip it, I am the work, suddenly you realize you're not chasing yourself. You're already here. You're already valid. And maybe that's the point. Stop waiting to be the finished version. Start living as the work itself. I once thought landing my dream job would be the moment I figured it out. Like the clouds would part, angels would sing, and I'd suddenly become this high-functioning, put-together queen. Instead, 3 months in, I was crying in my car eating Chick-fil-A fries thinking, this is it. This is the dream. Spoiler, it wasn't. And that's when I realized the dream wasn't wrong. It just wasn't my dream anymore. Because sometimes the identities we chase are just costumes that fit for a while. When they stop fitting, that's not failure. That's growth. That's the invitation to step into the next version of who you are. Like the face is yours, but the vibe, completely unrecognizable. The way you talk, the way you move through your day, the way you let people treat you, you catch yourself and think, oh my God, I've been body snatched. We don't talk about this enough. Those seasons where you lose yourself, not just because of heartbreak or loss, but because life just eroded you. Burnout, stress, responsibility, years of being the strong one. And suddenly you're like, wait, when did I stop being me? Here's the thing about identity. It's not fixed. We love to pretend it is because it feels safe. We pick labels, jobs, roles, relationships, and we decide, this is who I am. But identity is fluid. It shifts. It evolves. Sometimes slowly, like water carving a river. Sometimes violently, like an earthquake ripping the ground open. And here's the kicker. Burnout and trauma don't just make you tired. They can strip away entire layers of who you thought you were. The overachiever, the perfect partner, the strong one, the hustler. Suddenly those masks just don't fit anymore. And in that moment, it feels like loss, like death almost. Who am I without this role? Without this version of me I've carried for decades? But what if that's not loss? What if that's an invitation? What if burnout isn't proof you're broken, but a signal you're being called into a different version of yourself? Think about it. The you that survived the trauma isn't the same you who walks in the healing. The you who hit rock bottom isn't the same you who crawls back up. That's not a weakness. That's rebirth. So instead of clinging to a fixed identity, maybe the work is to let yourself flow, to allow who you are to expand, collapse, and reassemble. Because identity isn't about holding on. It's about becoming over and over again. Ask yourself, where are you already enough but refusing to see it? If nothing changed tomorrow, what would still matter? How would your life feel if you stopped waiting to arrive? So yeah, what if this is it? Not the polished, Pinterest-ready version of life, not the fantasy where you finally have all the answers, body, the money, the clarity, the perfect partner. No, this, right now. Messy, imperfect, still questioning, still searching, still very much alive. We think that if this is it means we're settling. But maybe it means we're actually arriving. Because what's the alternative? Spending your whole damn life chasing some future version of you and never actually living the one that's here? The truth is, every it eventually becomes the next in progress. So what if you could hold both? Fire to keep going and the peace of knowing you're already enough. That doesn't mean the struggle goes away. It doesn't mean you stop wanting more. It just means you stop treating yourself like a problem to solve. So if this is it, if this messy, beautiful, complicated life is all there is, honestly, that sounds pretty damn good to me. Because at least it's real. At least it's ours. Here is what I want you to take with you. There is no finish line. You don't figure it out. You keep becoming. When you don't recognize yourself anymore, it's not the end. It's the in between. The cocoon, the shedding. And when you whisper to yourself, what if this is it? Maybe that's not defeat. Maybe it's relief. Maybe it's the moment you realize you're already enough. So stop waiting for the map. Stop waiting for permission. You don't need to figure it out. You just need to live it. Thanks for being here with me. If this episode landed, share it with someone who needs the reminder. Subscribe, leave a review. All the podcasts love. Until then, remember, you're not unfinished. You're not late. You're already you. And that's more than enough. Bye, guys. Be blessed.
If you want to become a sponsor of this podcast, send us an email, download, and/or subscribe, like or follow us on social media, on our Facebook and YouTube pages form to have your comments read on the show. To be on our email list, go to our Facebook or YouTube page and fill out the form. Form your own Girl Talk group. Everyone needs a shoulder or an ear. Merch coming soon, mugs, t-shirts, and a few surprises.